agenda, just a few items here that were also in the registration form. We'll be discussing the health of onboarding customers, identifying onboarding milestones and being able to track those, and then also looking at ways to notify you proactively of any changes to the status of your onboarding account. So we're looking at triggers and alerts. And then as Cecilia mentioned at the end of the webinar today, excuse me, we'll be doing some Q&A if we have time to get to all the questions. If not, we will definitely follow up with you if you put something in the question box, or you can always feel free to reach out to your CSM as well. So before I jump into the actual live demo, I just had a couple screenshots that I think we'll actually end up looking at in the demo. But excuse me again, I want to just make sure that you know, what we're looking at today kind of resonates with you. You may or may not be currently tracking your onboarding customers. You may or may not have a health profile built for them. Again, that's definitely something that your CSM can help you with. But we've really identified 3 of the most common issues that we see customers face with onboarding, and they kind of reside in the following buckets. Churn during onboarding, so either somebody has an opt-out clause or they've decided to not move forward after the onboarding process, so they take advantage of that and kind of bow out of the relationship. The second one is quality of onboarding. So customers actually go through onboarding, they're an established account, but you've never really identified the goals that that customer is trying to accomplish. Maybe it's business goals, team goals. Maybe we weren't able to identify the proper data sources or talk to the right people. As we'll be able to see in the demo and also on the screen now, with Totango reports, you can identify what customers are in each stage and also the length of time that they have been in those stages, and really identify any areas of concern and address those in the moment, and really build processes around those to help with that overall quality of onboarding. And then the third one is really the time of onboarding. So there could be several factors really factoring into the overall time of onboarding that really we as CSMs or at any level can't really control. So it could be development resources, it could be, you know, change in ownership within our customer base, but these are things that we can hopefully identify through analyzing our current onboarding processes within Totango and then building ways to kind of weed that out early on in the process. So after your customers have onboarded, you can continue, or really should continue, to monitor the overall engagement, not only from your team, looking at your team's success and the trends of your accounts moving through the onboarding journey, but also engaging with the customers and ensuring that their time of onboarding, the quality of the onboarding was fantastic, and that the people that you have trained and are now utilizing your product are really seeing the value and are engaged. So we'll take a quick look at that today, but also there is an exciting kind of, maybe not any of you have heard of this yet, but there are some new features coming out from Totango that we are really excited about, called Success Plays. We'll actually also be hosting a webinar August 6th about these new releases, both Success Plays and account profiles, so make sure to sign up. Real quickly, the Success Plays will allow you to build criteria, and from that criteria create automatic tasks within Totango. So if you have a customer that is stuck in a certain phase of onboarding, you can be notified not only of them being stuck in that section, but then also have automatic tasks created to be able to help guide you to get them to a better spot. So with that, I am going to quickly pause my screen and jump into the demo. And what we're going to take a look at first is the Health Console section. There are really, I'll kind of highlight 3 ways, I guess 3 is my lucky number today, 3 ways that we can really monitor onboarding The first one is looking at the Health Console. So here you can see we have actually built out different segments in our Health Console. For those of you that don't know, this is completely customizable to your view. So if you're not responsible for onboarding but want insight, you can always just create an overall onboarding segment here. Other ways of looking at this data, say I'm a manager of either onboarding or a manager of a CS team, and I want to see a breakdown by specific CSMs and how they are onboarding. This is a demo account, so while my number looks fantastic, Robin's number is at 47. At any point through these segments, I can click on the number and see what accounts are in onboarding for Robin and their health. And then to the right of that, I'm also able to see the trend. So how has Robin's onboarding customers' health changed over time? This is currently defaulted to 6 months, it looks like, but we can either drill down to a month or 3 months or expand that further out. If I'm wanting to create a new segment for anything, I can just click the plus button up here and add a segment. And then we would be able to add, let's say Cecilia is a CSM and we're wanting to add her. So we would title the segment Cecilia Onboarding, and then we would build the criteria. So Success Manager would be one of Cecilia. And then we would also do an attribute of, let's say, journey stage is onboarding. So then here we've created another team member's onboarding health segment, and then we can monitor that as well over time. Moving on from here, another option that we can customize and really find out more data about the account is in lists. So we'll first go to accounts. And then what we can do from here is build an account list. So I'll do create account list. And I'm going to quickly build just a very, very high level list that I'll show you how to be alerted of any changes or customers adding to that list, and then also follow it so you get daily updates. So what we'll do here is choose all of our paying accounts, and then we will expand some of this data. And again, we'll be looking for the attribute of journey stage. And then maybe I want to add additional information. I can do usage frequency to really just identify how often they are logging in or really not logging in. But I'm actually going to remove that, and we can add that as a column later on. So right now I am just looking at all of my accounts. We can see there are 27 accounts with all of our accounts that are paying and then the onboarding stage. If I wanted to change this to just my accounts, I can click the all button and it will show me just my accounts that are in this criteria. If I wanted to add, really identify what action somebody is or is not doing, I can add more columns here and maybe even delete some of these that I'm not needing to look at today. I can click on the Edit Columns button. It looks like a little book up at the top right. I'm actually just going to go in and delete quite a few of these. And then we can see things like usage frequency. If you remember when I was building the criteria, I said we'll add that later on. And then I also want to see certain activities that somebody has done or has not done maybe. So I'm going to say who has, let's do created a document in the last 30 days. Actually, let's extend that to 90 days. Maybe onboarding is a 90-day process. Maybe it's a much shorter period. So you want to make sure that we've identified what those real top actions they should be doing through the onboarding process. And that's something that your organization or maybe you were a part of building out in the health profiles for onboarding if you have one built. So right now I can see out of the paying accounts that are currently in onboarding, what accounts have done this criteria. So how many times have they created a document in the last 90 days? If I want to be alerted of somebody fitting this criteria, I can click this little lightning bolt up at the top, and this is going to allow me to, I won't have to log in every day and look at that list. I can be notified via email that one of my customers or just our entire customer base has now fit this criteria, that they're now in the onboarding stage. So I can be notified by email. I can enter my email in here, if I can type. And then also, if I wanted to remove myself, or I'm sorry, be notified if a customer is removed from this list, I can be notified as well. I didn't stick up here. Another thing that I can do from the Add or Edit Triggers page here is add tags or remove tags from the accounts that are added or removed from this list. So let's say I want to tag that account that they are in onboarding as soon as they fit the criteria that I had built. We can do add tags, and maybe it's current onboarding is the tag that we'll add. When that attribute changes from them being in that journey stage of onboarding and now they are established, I can say when they no longer fit the criteria of journey stage onboarding, I can remove the tag. And I can remove the current tag onboarding. And let's say then we want to add a tag of established. I could add that tag. So there's multiple functionalities within this add and edit triggers that not only give you the proactive insight around customers that are now in onboarding or are no longer in onboarding, and then also a way to quickly tag those accounts. The last part that we'll look at on the list page is just the functionality of being able to save this for yourself. This right now is just a list of all of the paying accounts. If I did switch this to just show my accounts, I can click Save and easily save this for my own records, just specifically for my account. So now I'll only get notifications for the accounts that I am responsible for in my book of business. And we won't actually save that one today. The last thing that we're going to take a look at is in the report section. And I've actually already built a pretty handy report to look at today. But if you're not familiar, we would just click on Reports and then Create Report. And it's going to allow us to pull in certain lists that we've already built and then also build criteria around that and what insight we want to see. I'm just going to search for onboarding. Click on this one here. So the information that we're able to see in this report, just at a very high level up top, is the number of accounts in each of the onboarding stages that we track. So we can see we have 34 accounts that are tagged as being in or are in the kickoff call stage. We can see we have 12 in integration, we have 52 in the configuration phase. And if I wanted to see kind of how I built this out, I can click up top this little pencil, and this is everything that we're tracking. So each one of these is a list that identifies accounts in each of these stages. And then if I go further down from here, I can not only see the number, but then I can view it by breakdown. So what of these accounts are in each of these journeys? So how many accounts are in each of these journey stages? So June 15th, I have one account in the kickoff call. Maybe that's not concerning, that was just last month. But what about these down here? We're going back close to a year here, and we still have accounts that are in the kickoff call. More likely than not, we have the kickoff call first, and then we're kind of progressing through these different stages, with training being the last one. So from June 14th, if we wanted to take a peek at those, I just clicked on the date, and it kind of removes everything else and lets us zoom into this specific date range. I can see, again, I have 2 accounts in kickoff call. If I click that 2, it's going to show me what accounts are in that phase. Again, I can click from here and see what's happening. I can see all of the touch points and tasks that my CSM has created, and any updates around, maybe why they're still in the kickoff call. If I scroll down a little bit more, I can see what makes up those 2 accounts. What contract value are they in? So we still have we have $25,000 to $26,000 really at risk here. They've been onboarded with us a year and are still in the kickoff call phase. Maybe we want to analyze it by sales manager. I've added this list of components to really I could slice and dice the data by, so we can see that Harry has really owned 2 of these accounts, so he was a sales manager on those accounts that are stuck in the kickoff call phase. Eric, Shannon, Dustin really own the rest. And then also who's managing them now. So is it myself that's still stuck with that customer at a kickoff call, or is it one of the other CSMs? You can customize the data that you see down here up top. If you recall where I expanded this, this is the data that we are analyzing all of these lists by. And I think with that, the last thing is really being able to save this report for your own view. It was already a list that we had saved, but we can always click save. It's going to update the list, or we could always do a save as new if I have customized it so much to my own book of business that we want to save it just for ourselves. So with that, I think I'll pass it back over to Cecilia and see what questions we have, and open it up to anybody if you want to go to town and type lots of questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Erin. That was a great walkthrough. So we do have some questions coming in. The first one is, we have various tiers of customers. Some are small, some are enterprise. How should we track them in Totango as far as their onboarding? Should there be a different process depending on the type of customer? What would you recommend?
Yeah, so I would say definitely have a conversation with your CSM to get more specific about it. But if there are different actions that they should be doing or a different onboarding process, they should be in their own health profile and really have their own milestones. So if for some of your smaller customers, it's a quicker onboarding, they only have to configure one thing, they may see value right away and be able to be in good health right away, to where for some of the other accounts that are larger, there may be more milestones to reach. So I would definitely look at putting them in their own health profile and also tracking onboarding a little different.
Great, thanks, Erin. Another question. Someone's asking if they can automatically set up a task for their team to reach out if a certain milestone is not reached within a specific time frame.
So 2 different things here. You can create, if you recall when I set up the triggers, you can be notified if somebody has not done a certain activity or has reached an activity in a certain amount of time. You can be alerted of that. So that's kind of the second part of your question. The first part around the tasks, that is something, if you remember I mentioned quickly in the beginning, was around success plays. So Totango is releasing this in the next couple of weeks, which will allow you to build the criteria and say if somebody fits this criteria, maybe new to onboarding, let's send the CSM these 3 tasks to complete. Or maybe it's 5 tasks, and that takes you through the entire customer onboarding journey. So I would say definitely make sure to sign up for the webinar on the 6th, I believe, of August it is, and you'll find out more about that, or ask your CSM.
Great, thanks, Erin. Another question. So someone's asking if this capability is already enabled as part of my organization's Totango setup, or does it depend on our service subscription level?
I would say it depends. So you're saying this current setup. I don't know if you're talking about what I reviewed today. Everything I reviewed today, lists, reports, health console, that is all available or should be available to all of you today. The success plays and so I guess just the success plays that I mentioned earlier on and just now, that is something that's being released and is an additional feature functionality and potentially tier of product.
Great, thanks, Erin. And one other question is, will this session be recorded and made available to you? Yes, we are recording the session, and we'll follow up with an email with a link to the recording so that you can share with your team as well.
And I'll add into that as well. If you go to support.totango.com, there is a tutorial and training session where you can view the 6 or 7 webinars that we've hosted already for our webinar series. There's a day in the life of a CSM, day in the life of the VP of Success, and then also information around our custom metrics, ROI metrics, and other webinars that we've hosted. And that's also where to register for the 3 upcoming webinars as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Erin. So I'm not seeing any more questions come in. If you do have anything else that comes up, please reach out to your CSM. And as Erin mentioned, please stay tuned to our future upcoming webinars. Please register and please provide feedback. After the session, there will be a little survey, so please let us know how we can improve, and if you have any suggestions as far as new topics or anything else you'd like to see from our webinar series, we'd be happy to review that and provide you more value with this webinar series at Totango. Once again, thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks everyone.